more and more we take seriously the observer. One takes more and more seriously oneself. One asks more and more insistently the question, who am I? And who am I becomes more and more the key to the whole darn business. In other words, one takes oneself more and more seriously as the sample which is available here and now of what the universe is really like. So what we're going to do together is something very difficult and yet very simple. And it is difficult because it is simple. And I'm not going to lecture now. What I'm going to do is to experiment with you, to invite you to make some discoveries along with me of what it is really like, in all simplicity, being yourself where you are, sitting on your chair at this moment, forgetting everything you've heard before. If I could invite you to imagine you've been parachuted into existence at this moment, you've just happened. Imagine you've just happened. You don't know whether you're a centipede or a worm or a star or a human being or whatever. And you're having a fresh look to see what it's like being you at this moment, in all simplicity. Or, if you like, you're suffering from severe amnesia. You forget everything you've ever heard before. You're forgetting everything that you have ever experienced, I mean. And you're having a fresh look at what it's like being yourself, sitting on this chair of yours just now. I'm going to tell you what it's like right here, being Douglas on this chair. And I'm going to talk in baby terms. I'm not going to talk in metaphysical or religious or spiritual or any complicated terms. I'm going to talk in terms that are so obviously, so transparently simple and baby-like, I hope. And my story is this: that I look around the room and I see human beings. I look all around the room, and this room is full of human beings. But one of them is different. Looking in all sincerity and naivety around this room, I look around this room and I see one of the people in this room is different. I'm not talking about thinking the difference, I'm talking about seeing the difference. And my first question is, which one? And in all sincerity, simplicity, I have to say the one in this chair is different. And now that's the first point. And I suggest that if you look in your chair, you will see the one in your chair is different. And I want to point out the simple difference that I find between you and myself. And the simple difference is that you have splendid kind of meatballs mounted on your shoulders, solid lumps. I don't mean to be impolite, but they are very small, and they're pretty small, and they're pretty tightly organized, and they've got two windows in them, and they've got a sort of herbage round them and so on, and there they are. And that is what you're all like, except right here and here, there's nothing of the kind whatever. And the one sitting in this chair at the moment is about 3/4 of a human being. And he stops around there. He fades out here and he fades out here, and there's nothing here whatever. And replacing this box, which you never hear anyway, are all your boxes, are you. And in all simplicity, this is the way it is here. This is the way my universe comes. In other words, I'm talking now about what I might call a first-person universe, which is given to us in all naivety and simplicity. A first-person universe. That is the universe as it is to me, without thinking. And in my universe, which is actually given, there is no central lump. There's no central lump here. This is gone. It's absolutely gone. And I'm not looking at you through two eyes, and there's no brain here, and there's no box here, there's no beard here, there's absolutely empty of all that jazz. And I swear to you this is true, and you know I'm neither mad nor larking about. I'm perfectly sincere. You feel that. And I repeat, if anyone thinks I'm telling a lie, come and look. And you will lose Douglas's head on the way here. And if you don't believe what you see, bring your camera and bring your movie camera and approach from all directions, top, sides, front, and you will lose Douglas and his beard, etc. on the way, and you will come to a place where there is nothing. And I can, or very nearly nothing, let us say. Now, I can complete this story and say, okay, you're absolutely right, that the inside truth of this spot is this emptiness. Now, this is the way it is here. And I ask you to forget everything you know, to relax, to be quiet in yourself, to stop thinking, to pretend you just happened. Pretend you just happened. Have a fresh look in case you've been conned. And I suggest we've all been conned. Have a fresh look and examine that one spot in the world on which you are the sole authority. Now, I'm not the sole authority. I'm no authority on what's in there. See? Excuse me. I don't know what it's like there because I've never been there. And I don't know what it's like anywhere around in the universe. But there's one thing in the universe which I have inside information about, and always have had, and that's this thing right here. And it has always been empty. It has been this pure light, clear light of the void, this clarity, this brilliance, this nothingness, this void, which is not in a box. It's not a hole in a box, not an empty box. There's no box. There's nothing here whatever. And this void is full of you. I'm you, utterly you in your human form now, utterly without any difference whatever, not a speck here, not even distance to keep you away from. I am you utterly, because there's nothing here in the way. Now, this isn't because I'm a nice person, or because I love you, or because you're especially beautiful. This is the way it is. I can't help it. And this is foreseeing in all simplicity. And this is the way it is here. And I'm just asking you before we go on whether it is not the case with you, each one of you, in your first-person position, sitting on the seat of your chair now. If you think about this, you've had it. It is for simple seeing. It's not for feeling. It is for seeing. And it is for seeing that you are faceless. It is for seeing that you are headless. It is for seeing that there is no meatball at the center of your universe. No solid lump there, whatever. And I repeat that if you can see this, you are seeing the truth. I hope you're all having a good look and not thinking about it. Let me put it another way, just to try a number of ways. It helps if you would look at me, not because I'm going to hypnotize or anything, but it is necessary for this purpose that you should look at me. And I'm going to use Alan here as a help to me in this. Now, if you look at Alan and me, you will see that from your point of view there, we are indeed face to face. And there's a nose there, and there's a nose here, and there are eyes there, and eyes there, and there's a chin there, and there's a beard here. But there are differences, but roughly about this axis. This is a symmetrical situation from your point of view. It is a symmetrical situation. Alan and I are indeed face to face. And this is third person from your point of view. Now, I'm going to ask you, turn your attention to me now, not to Alan, just to me. And look at me and tell me in all sincerity and simplicity whether your looking at me is the same as this situation. Are we, you and I, face to face now? Well, my story is that we are face to no face. And that what's that side is nothing like what's this side. And that we can look at each other with a sort of two-way looking. and I can see what I'm looking out of at the same time as I can see what I'm looking at. I see what I'm looking out of at the same time as I see what I'm looking at. From your point of view, you see what you're looking out of, and you see what you're looking at in one foul swoop, in one looking. And you say that you can see that what's at that end is not like what's at this end. In other words, you can see what you're looking out of simultaneously with what you're looking at. And you see, if you're honest and not thinking about it and looking at my face, you will see you are looking at my face out of no face, out of nothing. Well, this is a pretty important thing, because if your universe has got a kind of meatball at the center of it, a solid lump here at the center of it, it's one kind of universe. If there's nothing here at all, you're out of your meatball, you're out of your box, and you're as wide as the world, because there's not even a plastic bag for you to be in. You are as big as the world. So that's a pretty important thing, number one. The second thing is that if you are mistaken about what is at the center of your world, if I'm mistaken and I put the meatball here instead of the clarity or the void, if I'm wrong about the very center and core of my own personal first-person universe, if I'm wrong about that, isn't the whole works going to be literally bunged up? Isn't my life going to be spoiled by literally a central mistake, an illusion, an absurdity, an untruth, a lie, which is surely going to ruin my whole life? To be wrong about this is to be wrong about the one thing, surely, that matters, the central truth. Well, I've invited you all, in all simplicity, to look at yourselves now and see what you're looking out of. Don't think, but just see. And I press on you again this point, that what you can see for yourself, you alone are able to say, and your authority there is final, because nobody can tell you what it's like right where you are except yourself. Not all the saints and sages and books can tell you what it's like right where you are, because you are the final authority and the sole authority on that one little blob in the universe. And if you say it's void, it is void. I don't know if you say it. If you see it's void, it really is void. Well, I hope you're really looking. And I know for a fact that quite a number of you see this clearly now. It's a wonderful thing for you. It's true. Very thankful for you. But now let me pass on to the genesis of this mistake that we've made, how it happened that we were conned into thinking a solid lump onto our shoulders when in fact there was no lump there. We have been conned by everyone around us into this. Small children don't see themselves this way. And let me just give you one or two instances of this. Small children are truthful. They're not playing games. They are frank about this. They are candid. They are truthful. And, for instance, we find a small boy that I know protesting in loud tones when he was ticked off for being a naughty boy that he was not a boy. And he didn't mean he was a little girl either. He looked at little boys and he saw they were kind of small and shrunk and two-eyed and had heads on them. I'm not a boy. And then, of course, his parents and teachers and so on said, well, now you must look at yourself through our eyes. They didn't say this, but what they meant was, you must see yourself as we see you from a distance. You must see your appearance to us. And he did this, and he went to his granny after a few months and said, Granny, I am a boy. I'm a boy. Well, this is the tragic con that we all have to go through. It is essential. There's a sense in which it is true. We have to see ourselves as others see us. But to do it at the expense of ourselves as we see ourselves, this is the great con, this is the tragedy. To sacrifice this first-hand childlike vision of ourselves as clarity, as light, as emptiness, to sacrifice this for the outside view and substitute the outside view of ourselves for this interior view, this is our tragedy. This is what literally bungs up our universe, literally, and bungs up our lives. And it bungs up our lives with a solid fiction, if you can imagine such a thing, or a fiction of solidity. A head, a skull, a face, two eyes, and all that stuff. All of which is visible out there as an appearance, but is not here as reality. It is fiction as reality, it is real as appearance. And these appearances are revealed to people who come up towards me, and they are lost when they arrive here. And the truth here is that this spot I occupy is empty. There are many ways of getting this fictional head on your shoulders, which just isn't there, but thinking you've got it on. And part of bringing it up is to learn these ploys of pretending, of planting this head, this face, on a place where it in fact does not exist. And one of them is called the mirror game. And the mirror game is this. I look at myself as a little boy, I look at myself in the mirror. And before I'm indoctrinated and conned, I have a nice time with my little friend in the mirror. And I look round and I think he's a thin little boy. And there he is, nice little boy in the mirror. Or if I'm an animal, I'd probably fight this creature in the mirror who's threatening my territory. But I learn otherwise. What I do is, about the age of 2, 3 onwards, I look at that chap in the mirror, and I'm taught to play this game, to put my hands through the mirror, as it were, and get hold of that face I see in the mirror, and bring it forward and shake it free of the glass, and keep on enlarging it, because it's too small, and turning it round, and planting it on here, and going forth into the world thinking I've got one like the other. And it's a lie. It's a lie. The face in the mirror is in the mirror out there, and that is the truth. If we would trust our mirrors, the whole thing would be revealed to us. Our mirrors are entirely trustworthy. If you want to know where your face is, look in the mirror. That's where you keep it. We are conned into thinking we have this solid lump here, that we are this solid lump here. And as the years go on, it gets more and more difficult to uncon ourselves, to see that the spot we occupy is in fact this clarity, this emptiness, and nothing here whatever. But most of us learn to put on faces, put on these heads and faces, and it is hell. It is hell. Now, I'm an authority on hellfire because I've endured some of it. And some of you also are probably authorities on hell too. And my story about hell is this. It is leaving my home here in the light, in my first personhood and clarity, and it is getting out there and seeing myself only as I imagine you see me. It is looking at Douglas from your position and being shamefaced, boxed up, small, limited, local, a little mortal thing, at risk, not okay, full of all sorts of blemishes, deficiencies, etc. Seeing myself thus, through your eyes, full of guilt and shame and smallness, this is hell. And it is a hell also of putting on acts and being unreal and insincere. Because once I get out, forsake my station of first personhood here, and see myself through your eyes alone, I put on acts. I'm not sincere, I'm not a real person. As a real person, I'm at home, here, enjoying who I am here, the clarity. As an unreal person, I'm forsaking my essence here, I'm forsaking my clarity here. And I'm out there enjoying or suffering the acts I'm putting on here in order to impress and please you. And it's horrible, and it's hell, and it's full of anxiety and misery. Let me put it again like this, which seems to me a vivid and true way of putting it. when I was 2, 3, 4, I could see, when I cared to, when I attended to it, I could see what it was like here. And I saw I wasn't in a box. I saw I had no head. I saw the difference between myself as first person and you as third person. I was at large. I was huge. I was not in a box, not even a plastic bag. That was the way it was. In this house of mine, which is no house, I am the only tenant. Nobody else is allowed in here. Nobody else can tell me what it's like here, because literally they're not in a position to tell me what it's like here, because they are there. You are there, you over there cannot tell me what it's like here. You pick up my appearance. I have inside information about this, which is absolutely final and valid. I am the final authority on this little bit of the universe. Well, at the age of 2, 3, 4, I listened to my elders. And they were so many. You see, they were big. They were big, and they were powerful, and they were numerous. And they were intelligent. And there were millions and millions of them. And I was only one, and I was a small boy. And do you know what I did? I let them there tell me what it's like here. Now, how crazy can you get? Do you know, it's just as though Alan here, I may call you Alan in this context, may I? Was Dr. Watts, Alan here, California. It's just as though Alan here had no confidence in the interior of this room, in what he saw, in his apprehension of the colors, the space, or anything. He had no confidence in what he saw in his own house. So he went out into the street there and asked a lot of passers-by what it was like in here, and they'd never been in here. It's like that, Alan. Isn't it like that? How stupid can we get? What goes wrong with our lives is everything if we are wrong about this simple thing. At the center of my universe is no thing whatever, and this means that I explode to include the lot. Therefore, I can say that the third person is in the universe, and the first person, well, the universe is in the first person. And that's the difference, and it's some difference. And when you get out of your meatball, you see that you are not distant from the stars. And this is celebrated by poets and mystics all over the world. For instance, Traherne says, "You never see the world aright, till the sea itself floweth in your veins, till you are clothed with the heavens and crowned with the stars." And this is absolutely bang on, literally bang on. Now, in seeing who I am then, I see who you are. I don't only see who you are, I know who you are, and I am who you are in my essence. And this breaks down between each one of us here every last barrier. There is no speck of difference at this level. As human beings, we are delightfully different, and this is for enjoying. But as what it is like right where we are in our first personhood, there is not a speck of difference. And this is where we are utterly one. And this, believe me, is a universe for living in. It's the only one worth living in. It's the only true story, as I see it. I'm not advocating it because it makes sense philosophically, although it does happen to do that. I'm advocating it because in all simplicity it is presented to me as the way it is. This is how it comes. This is the way it is. And it is beautiful, and it is heaven. It is heaven.